The news headlines. NBA commends EFCC on fight against graft. Corruption reign in Nigeria, says Obi. 702 million naira fraud. You have a case to answer, court tells Lamido. Lawyer drags Reno Omokri before EFCC and ICPC over alleged criminal representation. Jigawa police arrest 2 suspected kidnappers and recover weapons. European Union moves to cut $7.5 billion funding for Hungary over corruption. Now the news in full. Corruption reign in Nigeria, fuel subsidy, organized crime. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, has claimed that fiscal recklessness, inability to tackle insecurity, and corruption are primary reasons for Nigeria's failing economy. Obi also said that domestic problems caused by leadership failure have damaged the unity and cohesiveness of the country. The former Anambra State Governor made these claims while speaking at the Private Sector Economic Forum organized by the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry on Monday. He said whichever government succeeds Major General Muhammadu Buhari's regime in 2023 would be confronted by an array of daunting challenges, both domestic and external. Obi further affirmed that Nigeria was not bereft of transformative ideas from brilliant minds, but noted that institutional weaknesses and lack of political will has led to poor outcomes that has affected the people. He regretted that Nigeria now had frightening levels of poverty, unemployment rate, and out-of-school children. According to him, given the Nigerian history, politics and governance challenges, moving Nigeria forward will require concerted efforts and a shift from coercive to a consensus approach. NMA commends EFCC on fight against graft. The Kano branch of the Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, has commended the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, on its relentless fight against economic and financial crimes. The newly elected chairman of the association, Dr. Abdullahi Kabir Suleiman, gave this commendation in Kano on Thursday, September 5, 2022, while on a courtesy visit to the Kano Zonal Command of the Commission. According to him, the EFCC has acquitted itself well in the pursuit of its mandate and deserved the appreciation. He sued for the cooperation of the Commission in running the association, stressing that EFCC's support was significant. He further stated that one of the aims of the visit was to solicit the support and cooperation of the Commission throughout their tenure for unprecedented achievements. Responding to the commendation and the ask of the visit, the Kano Zonal Commander, Assistant Commander of the EFCC, ACE Farouk Dogundaji, appreciated the leadership of the association for recognizing and honoring the Commission with a courtesy visit. He further assured them that the Commission's doors are open at all times. He called on the leadership of the association to key into the anti-corruption work of the Commission by exposing every act of corruption, reminding them that the fight against corruption is for all Nigerians, and law enforcement agencies alone cannot fight and win the war. Mr. Reno Omokri, a former aide to ex-President Goodluck Jonathan, has been petitioned to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, ICPC, over an alleged criminal representation by a Port Harcourt-based lawyer, Azubike Ihemeje. Ihemeje, in the petition sent to the office of the 2 anti-corrupt bodies in Port Harcourt over the weekend, claimed that Omokri received salaries above his employment status and thereby obtained salaries by pretense. Ihemeje filed the petitions following alleged discrepancies in Omokri's appointment letter and payslip, which were posted on his social media handles by Mr. Reno Omokri himself. A Port Harcourt-based social media influencer and media consultant, Mr. Oraye St. Franklin, had earlier alleged that Reno Omokri was not a direct aide to President Goodluck Jonathan. Rather, he was a personal staff of late Oronto Douglas, who was an aide to President Goodluck Jonathan. Franklin Oraye had earlier challenged Omokri to publish his letter of appointment if President Jonathan truly appointed him. Taking up the challenge, Reno Omokri posted an appointment letter entitled Appointment as Special Assistant to the President with a federal government employee payslip that designated his position as Senior Special Assistant to the President. However, in an unexpected turn of events, Ihemeje petitioned that Reno Omokri, by his admission, was obtaining and receiving salaries from the coffers of the federal government as Senior Special Assistant, which was in an alleged contrast to his disclosed letter of appointment which bears Special Assistant, thereby showing a clear case of obtaining excess salaries by false pretense. In a closing plea, Ihemeje requested the commissions to deploy their very best forensic investigative team to thoroughly investigate the case to ascertain the criminal breaches thereof, and to also ensure that the suspect and any other person or persons involved in the apparent criminality are brought to book. Justice Ijeoma Ojukwu of the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has on Monday, the 19th of September, thrown out a 7-point no-case submission of former Governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, challenging his trial by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, stating that he has a case to answer before the court. Lamido is standing trial alongside two of his sons, Aminu Sule Lamido, Mustafa Sule Lamido, his business associate, Aminu Wada Abubakar, and 4 companies named as Bamaina Company Nigeria Limited, Bamaina Aluminium Limited, Space International Limited, and Bartholomew Darlington Agoha, in a 37-count further amended charge bordering on money laundering to the tune of over 712 million naira. One of the charges bordered on the use of his position as a public officer for gratification by purportedly obtaining contracts for companies in which he had interest from Dantata and Sawe Construction Company Nigeria Limited, which was awarded contracts by Jigawa State Government with the aim of concealing its illicit origin and thereby committed an offense of money laundering and punishable. Justice Ojukwu upheld the submission of EFCC's counsel, Chile Okoroma, declared that Lamido had a case to answer and ordered EFCC to open his defense at the next adjourned date of the matter. She adjourned the matter to November 8, 2022 for the former governor to open his defense. Lamido and his co-accused were first arraigned before Justice Evelyn Anyadike of the Federal High Court sitting in Kano on July 9, 2015, for allegedly misappropriating funds belonging to Jigawa State. He had been rearranged severally before his further arraignment before Justice Ojukwu on February 14, 2022. The police in Jigawa, in collaboration with a local vigilance group, have arrested 2 suspected kidnappers in Taura local government area of the state. The arrest was confirmed by the police public relations officer, DSP Lawan Shisu, in an interview with the news agency of Nigeria in Dutse. Shisu said the suspects, aged between 35 and 40, were arrested on Sunday following a reliable intelligence and credible information. Those arrested are believed to be members of a criminal gang that has been terrorizing parts of the state and neighboring Kano. The police arrested them during a special operation in Larabawa village, Gabasawa area of Kano, and Laraba Gugunya village in Taura, Jigawa State. Shisu said that the preliminary investigation showed that the suspects were responsible for the August 9 attack on personnel of the Nigeria Immigration Service. Investigation has also shown that the suspects killed 2 police officers at Kwalam village in Taura on the 23rd of January. The police spokesman further stated that 4 magazines, 8 rounds of 7.9mm live ammunition, 2 locally made pistols, bows, arrows, and 2 sticks, among others, were recovered from the suspects. Shisu urged the public to always avail the police of credible and reliable information concerning suspicious persons around their environment. And on the foreign scene, European Union moves to cut $7.5 billion funding for Hungary over corruption. The European Union executive recommended suspending some €7.5 billion in funding for Hungary over corruption, the first such case in the 27-nation bloc under a new sanction meant to better protect the rule of law. Relations between the European Union and Hungary have been on thin ice for months as Brussels suspects that nationalist Prime Minister Viktor Orban's government is undercutting the rule of law and using European Union's money to enrich its cronies. It's about breaches of the rule of law, compromising the use and management of European Union funds, said the EU Budget Commissioner Johannes Hahn. We cannot conclude that the EU budget is sufficiently protected, he said. According to the EU Budget Commissioner Johannes Hahn, systemic irregularities in Hungary's public procurement laws, insufficient safeguards against conflict of interest, weaknesses in effective prosecution and shortcomings in other anti-graft measures are reason for the sanctions and funding cuts. Hahn said Hungary's latest promise to address EU criticisms was a significant step in the right direction, but must be translated into new laws and practical actions before the bloc would be reassured. In response to the allegations, Hungary's government said the MPs would vote next week on a series of laws aimed at easing the conflict. The measures are expected to include setting up independent anti-corruption watchdogs to monitor the use of EU funds, as well as steps to make the legislative process more transparent. Hahn said he was very confident that there will be a significant reform in Hungary, which will indeed be a game changer. And that is all for this week on Corruption Watch on Flagit TV by Akin Fadeyi Foundation. Until next week again when we come your way, please stay safe.